See, you know what my problem is? I've got an addictive personality. So the first time I listened to a Red Hot Chili Pepper song and I liked the song, I bought every album they ever made on eBay, right? And I discovered incense very recently in life. And I went into the shop and I bought mad flavors, Grace. Mad flavors, like strawberry waterfalls and stuff.
Oh, no.
And I took it home and that stinks.
No.
It's horrible.
Incense is just so like 2013.
Truly?
Yeah.
Oh, hell no. You walk into my crib, it's like we have to wade through dry ice. So
like a haze of vapes.
Oh, I love
it.
Because you know, me and my boy Joe, so the guy I write with, we box ourselves into a room. And I don't know how it happens, right? Because neither of us are smelly. But there's just like a boy smell.
It is just men, I would say.
But like I'm thinking to myself, where does it come from?
Well, it's probably like the sweat of the hard work.
But we're writing things down on a Google Drive document. It's not that sweaty.
No ventilation?
I personally don't like opening the windows in winter.
Right. My mum says that's really bad.
Well, opening the windows in winter?
No, not opening the windows in winter. Because I don't either, but that's how you get like damp and mold.
But I like to invest heat. So, you know, when everyone comes around for a party at my house.
Does this happen a lot?
Well, not too much.
You like to throw parties. No, I wanted to ask you before.
Wait. Okay, you didn't hear about my heat. You didn't hear my heat investment. When everyone comes in and warms up the room, I like to then keep hold of that heat for as long as possible by not opening windows and stuff. If the postman comes in and out, that's cool. But it's like, how often do you get to generate heat in your house?
But then don't you think that heat also comes with smell? Like the hotter people are and a room of people are, the worse the smell. No wonder you're going down to Camden Market and like buying out the incense shops.
Yeah, but no.
Sense of BO that you're locking into your house.
Wait, no. Who's rocking up to a party like I'm actively going to have BO? Surely that's the time in your life.
People do that.
No, not at my parties.
I wish I could say to people on the tube, you smell. I do.
I haven't been around that many smelly people on the tube. And what's crazy is people always tell me these crazy experiences on the tube. I've never seen anything abnormal on the tube. In fact, up until I started doing comedy, I was the highlight in the sense of I was the crazy guy because I was obsessed with, before the doors opened, I like to swing on the bar and swing forward just as the door opens so that I then fly out onto the platform.
Whoa, parkour.
So, well, yeah, exactly. Before it went mainstream.
Before Matt Hancock did it.
Yeah, I've never been tempted to tell someone they smell because everyone smelled great on the tube.
I have been on the tube before and I've been like, I can't believe that you are like going to work. Like you stink. Like it's crazy. Yeah. But I'm really like about smells.
I knew. Oh, really?
Yeah. I can't open the fridge.
Nothing makes me gag. That's one of my strengths.
That's why you like incense.
But I did know someone who would only wash their armpits with lemon, and low key I wanted to try it. Can I just segue into one crazy citrus fact just whilst we're in this space? I'm trying to learn like a word a day, right? And one of the words I came across was shower orange. Have you heard about this?
No.
It's when you eat an orange, you peel and eat an orange in the shower because it massively intensifies the smell and the taste. Because
of the heat?
Yeah, because
do you watch Modern Family?
I've never watched Modern Family.
There's a whole bit where Phil Dunphy tries to like make eating in the shower like a thing, and his wife's like, it's not a thing.
But try the shower.
To like invent it. Have you done it?
No, I need to.
Is that your word of the day today?
No, that's from a few months ago.
What's your word of the day today?
I've been slipping because if I don't like the word that dictionary.com gives me, I'll just sort of I'll remix, or like I'll reload the word from before, which was Nolens Wollens.
That's an English word.
I don't know I think it's Latin. Everything comes from Latin. It's like the godfather of all words. But it basically means when you do something against your will. So I'm not here right now, Nolens Wollens.
Right, okay.
I'm here full Wollens.
Oh, that's good to know. So you want to be here. You're Wollens.
100, yeah.
Because that makes sense. Nolens Wollens, not volunteered.
Facts. That's what the Latins were thinking.
Yeah, Latin is crazy.
Yeah. So
what were you going to say when you came in, when you were talking about shoes and you were like, the thing about English people, and then you said, "Oh, save it for the podcast."
Sounds like I'm about to unload some mad reverse racism.
What were you going to say?
You know, the thing about these Zimbabweans. Look,
it was something about. It was definitely something about like.
Okay, is this podcast in Vision?
Yes.
Okay, so technically, I'm wearing a coat right now. Yeah. One thing I've noticed, there's two things that drive English people absolutely mad. Number one is when you wear your coat inside. And number two is when you drink a cold drink out of a mug. Both of those things I like doing.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm so toasty. So why would I,
But is that because of the outdoor clothes thing? People don't like people wearing outdoor clothes.
Oh, yeah.
Is that...
I get that. But generally speaking, I try not to touch the surfaces.
Oh, but you're touching the surface now.
No. Of the tube.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying?
Did you not sit down on the train in?
No, I just hovered. And I'll try
squat.
to...
You just did a squat on the suffragette line.
Do you never... Yeah, man. It's what they would have...
Emily Pankhurst.
It's what she would have wanted. Do you never try and balance on the tube without holding a surface?
That's my like favorite thing to do.
Love that game,
I'm
man.
so good at it as well. I do a lot
surfing.
of yoga.
Yeah.
So I will stand there and people are like, she's gonna fall, and I don't fall. Or like really last minute, I just grab the pole.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
If I ever have to grab a pole, I'll only use like a surface of the hand that doesn't come into contact. So I'll use like a fist. So if I'm rocking back and forth on the tube,
how you do it?
I'll lean onto someone with a fist, which looks like I'm just standing up for the revolution in the middle of the Jubilee line, but it's actually for balance.
So you're like, just go like that?
Yeah,
but that
because
surely doesn't help you
but Grace,
falling over.
this is actually genius, because if I then have to eat and I don't have a gap to wash my hands, I'm never going to eat like this. I'm going to use the open
I get
surface,
that.
which is untouched.
I get that. But surely you could just wash your hands as well.
You know, it's
or
so
just,
crazy.
Do you know what? There is this thing called anti-bac.
Oh yeah, I love anti-bac.
Always got that on the go.
No, but there's like a Russian roulette with anti-bac, because sometimes
it doesn't work.
Well, sometimes it's so sticky. It's like you might as well clean your hands with Pritt stick. This is the most mental introduction.
Let's start the podcast.
It's like the first time that my managers watch this, George, who's joined my team, has watched me do a podcast, and I think he thinks I'm actually insane in this moment.
Well, George has seen me in very insane. So me and George went to Coachella together last year.
Oh, damn, okay.
Yeah, it was crazy stuff, wasn't it? We had a great time.
But this is my problem at parties, funnily enough. Thoughts come into my head, and surely this is more interesting than if I was just like, hey, how are you, Grace? What have you been up to? Did you have a Christmas? No one cares about that.
Well,
I'm trying to know if you ate a shower in the orange before.
I hate small talk. So
small talk.
I like to jump it into that was great. Do you like going to parties? Are you a sociable person?
No. Parties, yeah. I don't really like going to parties unless I go to a party and I end up having a really good chat. So I'm like you. I like to do big talk. Not big talk like deep talk, which is different, but just often I've found like I'll be having a conversation with someone at a party. Someone will walk over and be like, hey, you two are having a deep chat or whatever. Sort of mock me for doing this big talk. And then by the end of the party, I'll know something about that person that no one's ever found out. So we went to this, so it was sort of a party, but it was like a press trip. So in the evening, they had like a little party where we had dinner and stuff. And I was sat next to this girl, and she was a surfer, and she had all these cool stories. Anyway, she ended up telling me that when she was a kid, I think like she got worms or something, right? And basically someone in her family, like an older relative, said the way to get rid of worms is to put like sellotape over your bumhole. So that at night, which is apparently when they're most active and they come up for air, they get trapped on the sellotape.
But surely when they come up for air, they just leave.
Well, no, because it might be a pleasant experience for them in there. Anyway,
Fair.
The point is,
no one in that room
knew that story about the surfer. But what's difficult about those situations is I can't then tell people I've heard that story.
Apart from on a podcast.
Because it just makes me sound like, why did you what did you ask to elicit that information?
Yeah, but I think that's a sign of a good conversationalist. Is that the word, conversationist? Is when you can get people to tell. I have that effect on people where people will tell me the craziest stuff that's happened to them within minutes of meeting me.
Really?
Yeah,
okay,
because I think I also probably go up to them and tell them the craziest things that have ever happened to me, and then they do it back.
I like that though.
But it's a good. I'm the same. I don't like conversations which feels too
like vacuous,
rudimentary. Like like, well, how was your Christmas? Happy New Year. What are you doing for the weekend? Like, I don't like that, and it makes me. That's why me and dating is quite bad, because that's what happens a lot on dates.
Dating,
is you have to have a lot of small talk.
That's the extreme version. But do you find that you go in all guns blazing with? Okay, can you accelerate to full personality from the jump?
Yeah, and that's the problem, is I'm too intense too quickly. It's not a problem, but that's why, you know, it's an intensity. I think you have probably the same thing, which is like, I go from 0 to 100, or I'm so unstimulated by someone and I have to not be near them, basically. So I don't like being stuck in a conversation where I'm bored.
But first impressions are so weird though, because it's just like a version of a person that you never see again. If you then progress to be friends or in a relationship, whatever. So it's just crazy to me. It's like a flicker of a constructed version of a person that you only see once. It's so crazy to me. Whereas ultimately, everyone wants to get to the good bit, right? I find in like British friendships or whatever, or like a relationship, the minute you start roasting someone is when like you're pals with them, because everything else within British socializing is geared towards moving as far away from awkwardness as possible. Whereas if you're insulting someone in a jokey way, that's like the antithesis of that.
It's like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that's why sometimes I offend men, because I'll go too quickly into like roasting them and taking the piss out of them.
Yeah,
and men can be quite
fun.
sensitive sometimes, especially if it's a woman. I do think that. Is that they can sometimes get a bit like, whoa, that was like too soon to like take the piss out of my bald head or whatever.
Oh man, I got 2 sisters, and one of my sisters was around for Christmas, and like she's my youngest sister. To me, she's still a baby because, you know, when I left home and I went to uni and stuff like that, I never really was around enough to be big brother. So I think subconsciously in my mind, I'm sort of like, oh yeah, she's still my little sister, and you know, she's still my baby sister. Anyway, she's grown. She's like 21. So she said at the dinner table, my friends were there because it was like the dregs of a party. She was like, oh, did you know in Wicked, like all the singing is live? I'm thinking to myself, what, you're telling me Ariana Grande is like hitting these notes whilst being slung through the air in a harness? I was like, I'm pretty sure it's not live. And she like stood up and did this monologue about how like Gen Z do know stuff and that these vocals were 100% authentic, and that, you know, it was very boomer of me not to believe that a Gen Z person knew a fact. And I got cooked.
Yeah.
You know when you take those burns where you just have to sit with your fingertips together and just wait for after the party to have the deep chat. But I got
Did you say that was too much? That upset me.
Look, I said.
Also, she's right.
She's right.
And everybody knew that,
right.
apart
I said,
from you.
You know what? I said, you know what? Your point was actually valid. But, you know, we've got to handle the situation in a way that's... I hate public confrontation. You'll never, ever see me argue with someone in public.
Really?
I'm going to do that thing where it's just like a little smile.
Even if, like, you've been wronged. Say if, like... I don't know, someone sat in your chair, you've gotten on a train and someone's in your chair.
Oh, no,
Would
man.
you have an
no,
argument
no,
with
it's
them?
not worth it. It's not worth it.
Really?
But for friends and stuff, if a friend or someone, family member, like you do something that really, you know, makes me irate, I'll be quiet, and then it would just be a little chat. I'll just say, oh, can we speak? And then it would be in the most calm way possible. And it's a bad thing, actually. Maybe, I think it's a good way to resolve conflict. But I remember once my friend dropped a glass in my house. And he just looked over at me and I was just smiling. And he said it was the most terrifying half an hour of his life because he didn't know what I was going to say. Realistically, I hated the cup. It was so butters.
It was a mug that you've been drinking squash out of.
Yeah. If it had been my squash mug, there would have been, fists would have flown.
But so that, because I think that's like the passive aggressiveness of like when you know someone's angry at you, but they're not, I can't handle that. That makes me so on edge.
Do you
like
say,
when somebody texts me saying like, can you call me? I'm like, oh my God.
Oh,
like,
that's the worst.
I've done something really bad.
Or if someone just goes, if someone replies to a text like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Think about that, the power in that word.
Or when people say sure. So I'll be like,
oh, hell
can you do me this like favor? And I feel like I'm asking something like a bit much, like, could you call me today? Sure. I'm like, oh, you want me to die?
Gosh, damn. Do you use the phrase, do you use phrases like passag?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And KMS? Do you know KMS?
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know KMS. But sometimes I feel like
KYS as well.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I'm trying to figure out how much I'm hanging in there in terms of like, how do I know all of the words? Do I know all the abbreviations? Because there's a lot now.
There are a lot. Yeah.
You know, I said something to my sister the other day and she went like, and that was the message back. And I think it was short for,
oh, let you know.
I know, like, it's crazy. So I said, I can't believe Dad did this. And she said like.
But I'll say LYK for I'll let you know. Or do you know what a good one that I love is PBE, play by ear. Let's play it by ear.
That's a bit, you're like doing too much. Because I just feel like, I would be so disappointed if I was Shakespeare. Do you know what I mean? Written all these books, written the dictionary, and then people are just saying PYB.
Nah, first of all, I think Shakespeare would adapt Okay, well, actually, what I want to ask you about is like, you're obviously very well known now. I've met you once at one of Amelia's Valentine's parties. That was, I think that's the only time we've met, but it was years ago. So don't worry if you don't remember me. But
There was lots of sweets and bowls.
Lots of sweets and bowls.
There we
And
go.
yeah, it was free drinks. And do you feel kind of like self-conscious when you go to parties? Like, how do you feel when you go to like an event like that where there's like a lot of people that you don't know?
Well, people love to tell me that I'm shorter than they imagined.
Really?
That's like an icebreaker for them. It's like a thing where they expect me to go back. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? I'm actually mad short, which obviously I'm not going to say. I'm 5'7", which is not terrible.
That's really just so random.
But
People are really strange.
But it's also cool thinking people think I'm really tall in my videos. Like, that's quite cool. Because, at the moment, there's 1.3 million people who will never know that. So they're like, damn, this guy's 6 foot and he's funny. I got this big secret apart from now on the podcast.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
When I go to parties, what's crazy for me is, when I go to parties, I'm only self-conscious in that, I feel like the way I conduct myself in my life is still very much the same way as it was before. Because, if I was like a Hollywood star from being a child, my experience of reality would be so far removed from, normal life that, of course, it would be mental for me to try and pretend that I know what it's like to get the tube or whatever. The reality is, I love jumping on a line bike, get the tube. It's faster than, being stuck in traffic, all these things. So more than anything, I'm just anxious of having to debunk all these theories about how I might be at a party. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, that's where you then might be. Would you ever feel like you have to be like on? Oh,
of course, all the time. The comedy I make anyway, for yourself as a stand-up, it's like, you're so used to being in front of people and conjuring up funny moments from just normal conversation. My stuff is a bit more constructed, and of course there's improv in it, but
yeah,
I am, I'm quite a serious person.
Clearly, you are clearly very clever.
But do you think I'm serious though?
Well, I would say someone who creates the things you create, you are serious, because it takes someone really highly intelligent to make the things that you make at the speed that you make them as well.
Right.
So I followed you for years and I've always thought you must be so smart.
Oh, well, I appreciate that.
Well, it's obvious.
Well, it's weird to hear because, I would love to read more, but I don't really read that much. I read almost exclusively Stephen King. Because I can't watch horror movies, so I like to read them
because you get
instead.
too scared?
Oh man,
same.
Grace, no, but this is bad. When I go watch horror films, I have to create a visual barrier. I have to watch the film through the smallest possible crevice. So I'll create like a tiny opening in my hands, and I always watch it with AirPods noise cancelling on.
Wait. As in the AirPods are not connected to the film?
No, they're in my phone. There's not music playing, but it's just like the sound is thudded. The sound is dulled. Because the pure fear of like a jump scare or whatever.
Yeah.
I just like to soften the blow.
No, I know. I've been asked to leave the cinema so many times.
How come?
Because I scream a lot. Me and Amelia went to see that film Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. And like, did you see that?
Bro, it's not even scary.
Oh, no. I couldn't even watch Harry Potter as a child. Like, I'm pathetic. I had to leave sleepovers if we'd listened to the Harry Potter audiobook. Like, I'm a pussy.
Okay.
And anyway, I got asked to leave the cinema and Bodies, Bodies, Bodies because I kept like screaming and everyone was going, it's really obvious. Like, what's happening is really obvious. Like, you're like, I'm just too, I'm jumpy.
I hear you and I relate
So
to you.
you read Stephen King.
Sorry.
Did Stephen King write Misery, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favourite horror film. Misery.
I haven't seen the film.
It's an amazing film.
Kathy Bates. We know why I haven't seen the film.
Yeah, that is an amazing film. I hate horror and I've watched that film a lot. It's an amazing film.
Yeah, if I do, I will enjoy it through my AirPods. But
yeah, on a tiny little crevice, watching through like that.
But you do meet people who are so well read and so that they're just so well versed in all these theories and whatnot. My content, I sort of construct it less on like this vast knowledge of the world and of things of literature and stuff about subjects, and I base it more on. I do very thorough research, but I base it also on like what the majority reaction is like. What's the feeling? What's people's sentiment? So I learn a lot through, reading people's comments. So when a news story breaks, I'll go under the news article and then read how people are feeling and stuff. Because with satire, a lot of the time I'm trying to reflect back us to ourselves, society to itself. So it's a bit of a weird one. Even politics, I had to drop it. That was my weakest subject at sixth form. So, sometimes I don't feel as though I have the credentials to make the work that I do. I embrace now that, this is the work I do and people think I have credentials, but I don't walk into a room with the reassurance some people have, which is I'm the smartest person in this room.
But I would go, the only thing I'd say about that is that I think that we reading books doesn't mean you're clever. And it's the same with going to private schools doesn't mean you're clever. It's kind of like it's about like how you react to things. Because I don't read either, but I think people think I'm quite smart. Maybe because I just absorb information. I don't know. And I guess I listened to when people are talking to me, so I take stuff in. But I've read like one book in the last 2 years, and it was Al Pacino's memoir, and it banged.
Oh, what's it called again?
Sunny Boy.
Yeah, I've heard that one bangs. I've heard that one banged.
It's so good, but I have spoken about it on like every episode of the podcast.
Okay, don't talk about that. But I'm going to tell you the one book I read last year was... it was the very tiny book. Is it by Ian McGregor? No, Ian McGregor. Is he an author?
Yeah, Ian McGregor. And didn't he write Atonement? No, sorry. Ian McGregor.
Ian McEwan.
And
it's about this couple who are on holiday and they sort of hate each other and then they sort of make friends and then one of them gets murdered by like an Airbnb host. It was like really short. I love it when you open a book and you're like, what? 150 pages? As soon as I see 400, I check out. I'm thinking 400 pages to tell me what? But no, I respect the craft.
Well, I think you're really clever, and I think you're just so good at what you do.
I
so
appreciate
well done.
that.
How old are you?
I'm 32.
32. And when did you start like doing comedy?
So I started. So let's see, 2018 was when I put out my first sketch. So how many years ago is that? 6.
7. That's when I started doing stand-up as well.
You did stand-up for 7 years? Wow, man. Honestly.
But then COVID.
Okay,
2 years.
I really respect stand-up. I've dabbled in it. I find it hard as hell. I did do a tour. Yeah.
Did you enjoy it? You did the forum, didn't you?
I did who?
The forum. I
did the forum.
I
did enjoy it. I did enjoy it. I just, I think I'm looking forward to having more time to learn about the craft and to feel like more robust in terms of if stuff happens during the show, you can be malleable, So yeah, I did enjoy it. I think public speaking is just scary, isn't it? It is really, I find it really scary. I don't know how it was for you.
It was at the start, but I think now I'm like very desensitized.
Like impervious. Yeah, I'd love to get to that.
But what you need to go through, I was saying this to my friend the other day, but you need to go through some really bad experiences on stage and then you'll be ready.
I sort of
you almost
really want
like
that.
to be you want to be heckled a few times. You want people like I've gone through like every kind of experience that could have happened. I've had people be really crazy, but that's because lots of people hate my dad as well. But it was made me really bulletproof.
That's what I want. What you have.
Okay, well, let me know when you're doing a gig and I'll come.
Yeah, but no, but this is the
but
Grace, this is the thing. When I was gigging, I was trying to go to, so I went to, a place like Top Secret and I did do Comedy Store and I did like really nice nights. But I also tried to go to some nights that were empty or whatever. But the thing was, whenever I would get on stage, everyone would pull out their phone. So it's like, my shit has to be amazing from the jump. Do you know what I mean? If you told me you can go in and make crap jokes and no one's going to film you, of course I'd earn my stripes and I'd experiment a bit more because I know that no one's going to try and end my career over like a punchline that wasn't tight enough.
I get that. I think you're going from it with the heart. It's much trickier going that way because you want to be anonymous though when you start. That's the thing. You do want to be able to like go and perform to 8 people and try loads of shit and then leave being like that was all really bad, but it's fine. I'm never going to do it again. And that is you're coming. But what you should maybe do is do your own shows that are like work in progress shows. Yeah. Where you say no phones allowed, but you even can just try your stuff.
Even then, I don't really want to disappoint people.
But that's the part. That's kind of what I'm saying. The only way you get really good is by accepting that you will be shit. For quite a lot of it, and then you do get good. So you have to. You just honestly, it's like one of those things. You have a bad show, and then you say, next one, like what will I do differently, and think about the conditions of that show that made that way. But you can't and it won't all be good.
Makes sense. No, it makes total sense. I mean, look, there was a part I was trying to integrate music into my show. And, the start of the show was basically about how the quandary of being mixed in the sense of, you're kind of between two senses of self. And for me, that manifested itself through Harry Potter, because basically, in the UK, when Harry Potter dropped, it was the thing. But in Zimbabwe, when Harry Potter dropped, it was deemed as like witchcraft, black magic, whatnot. So my mum wants me to read the books and my dad doesn't. And it's being smuggled into my house like contraband. The Philosopher's Stone's coming in. I'm like having it under
Was
my
it actually like did your dad not want you to read it?
Hell no.
Oh.
We wouldn't. Do you know my dad actually banned us from saying abracadabra? He banned us from saying abracadabra. So I'm like, cool, I can't say the F word, I can't say the C word, I can't say abracadabra. Let me not even try Wingardium Leviosa.
Abracadabra, the swear word. So you were secretly reading Harry Potter?
Yeah,
wow.
Exactly. So although the boys in school were like watching porn, I was under the cover reading the Chamber of Secrets. Same thing. But I had a song in the show where I would basically sing in an R&B style about this, this dilemma. And, what you learn is like some clubs, they don't have a sound system. So number one, you can't sing into a stand-up mic. It's not got what you need to sound good. So what I do is I do this really over the top corny JLS sort of mime. And it was very knowing, but it only worked if you could hear the song.
So you're playing the track and you're miming
and
it.
people are like,
right.
oh, he's miming, but the lyrics are funny, so I'm a laugh. I remember doing the gig once in front of a really packed out crowd and you just couldn't hear the song. And because I wasn't singing either, I was just sort of moving my mouth silently, doing all these moves.
Oh no. And did you know that they couldn't hear?
Yeah, but I kept going.
You knew?
I kept going. I was like, just wait for the Dumbledore bit.
Oh, that's awful. You should have been like, play the song louder.
I was just too, but the thing is, my crowd work was so bad, I couldn't even communicate with the sound engineer. I couldn't even say, yo, just turn it up. That was too much for me. That was too much improvisation. I don't know whether you've experienced this, but, as you, I think this might be a quote from, what's that film about the murder on the, is it Murder on the Orient Express? I watched that on a plane once, and I think the detective has this line where he goes, what I love, what I like, I love immeasurably, and what I don't like, I loathe it. I've totally butchered that, but it's something like that. And I'm the same with sort of people, like the people that I like, the people who are my friends, I love being around these people so much. But things like small talk, because I don't dislike people, but things like small talk, I hate it so much. I'd rather not even be in a situation to do those things. But I've been to some cool parties and I've got memories from parties. But if you invited me to one, most likely I'll say no.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's at like, I like having parties in my house and playing like, beer pong and stuff like that. Or doing mad nerdy stuff.
I love playing games. Organised fun is and that's a good way if you are a bit like of a what's the word I'm looking for? Like not shy, but like stimulation.
Yeah.
Like helps socialization. I sound like, I don't know, I'm just coming up with something amazing on the spot.
Another Grace quote.
It's like this, if you have something going on, it means that anyone who's like socially awkward, they have something that they can just do. That's 100%. Why games are good. But
yeah, I would love to see, celebrity. I get so starstruck.
Do you? Who's the most like famous person?
Well, I can tell you a starstruck situation that was diffused by a really nerdy icebreaker. So basically, I was at a party last year. It was like a fashion week party. And I saw a designer that I really like called Oswald Boateng. His suits are really cool. And I thought, you know what? I've worn one of his suits before. I'm going to go say hi. He's talking to this guy. So he walks up, so I walk over and Oswald, I say hi to Oswald, and then the guy turns around and it's Lawrence Fishburne. I think that's why you say his surname, right? For The Matrix. Red pill, blue pill.
Right.
Reflective glasses, bad boy actor.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm like, oh, damn, like I really was not mentally prepared to see you right now. And so I don't know Oswald well enough to carry a conversation past how are you? Neither do I know the other guy. So what I just went, do any of you like Lime bikes? And I'm thinking, oh my God, what's about to happen? And Lawrence is like, man, I love line bikes, man. I got a line bike here. In fact, my wife said I have to not ride line bikes anymore because I'm riding too many. And we start having this chat about line bikes. I'm like, this is great. And we're like getting our phones out, comparing line bike ride numbers. That is my kind of night.
That is amazing.
You feel what I'm saying? So
did you think of that on the spot? It's also funny because we're recording this the day after Timothée Chalamet turned up to his A Complete Unknown premiere on a line bike.
But my man looked like he never stepped foot on a bike
Did
before.
you watch him locking it?
Like,
Did you watch so he got to the bit, it's honestly cringed me out so much. He got to the bit where they're about to take his picture, and you know when you stop a line bike and you have to go like that to get the he obviously had never done it before, so he didn't know. So for ages, and then someone has to come over and help him like turn the thing at the bottom.
Man.
Then he like really performatively like scanned the thing to like end the trip, like as he's about to get his picture taken.
I'm very sensitive about line bikes because I'm a proper lime OG.
Yeah, fair.
You have to. Do you get line bikes?
I do, but do you know what really annoys me is like I got one a few days ago and the battery was dead. So then it was like cycling a motorbike.
Oh my God.
And I was going into Soho and it was like 1 degree and I was going uphill and I didn't have time to change the bikes. It was just like I was like, this is so unproductive.
How did they manage to make line bikes? As soon as the battery dies, this is the heaviest shit you ever come into contact with. It's like a
motorbike. You're like pedaling a motorbike.
Oh man, it's so serious. It's like, I can't understand how something can be so light.
But they shouldn't let you take it if it's dead. Heavy. That's what annoys me a lot. But I do love line bikes. I think they are amazing.
It's like lime roulette though. Do you look in the baskets before? I judge a line bike whether I'm going to ride it or not based on what's in the basket.
I wouldn't get on a line bike if it had something in the basket.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you check the basket first.
Yeah, I would never get like in it. But like what? What's the craziest thing you've ever seen in a line bike?
I've seen like a chicken head.
You're joking.
No, I've seen like the body part of a chicken in a line bike before. I was like, boom, unlock. I think I'm quite icky at parties.
Do you think?
But I'm only realizing this now because basically I'm super alert to noise. So if I hear like a weird noise, like my head will turn like an animal. And I just think in a party situation, that's probably quite weird. You know, you're having a chat with someone and then it's like, they're like a meerkat looking at something.
But is that because I have that, but that's because I'm on some part of the spectrum where like, I'm really sensitive to any sound.
Well, I'm like that because when we used to live in Zimbabwe, our parents would be like, listen out for robbers. So
you're
I'm
just always on alert.
I'm always trying to hear the sound of a robbery, right? So I remember once we had this alarm system in Zimbabwe and we had this huge, houses are different in Zimbabwe because, your properties are all gated. You're behind a huge wall. Are you in like
a gated community? Are there like
it's not even
houses?
A community.
No,
it's
just your house is gated.
Yeah, one of the maddest things about England is, your front doors, I can just walk to your front door. In Zimbabwe, you do whatever you can for people not to be able to walk to your front door. So our house used to have this really crappy, huge gate, right? And it would drag along the floor and it would sound like a horror movie. Anyway, my mum was in the bath and she was like, look, I'm going to have a bath. If anything happens, just press the panic button on the alarm system, right? I didn't know my dad had gone out. Sorry, I didn't know my dad was coming back from somewhere.
What happens if you press the panic alarm?
Oh, it just sends all your alarms
police
crazy.
Come?
Not even. If they did, it would be like 3 to 5 working days. So anyway, my mum was in the bath and obviously I'm now positioned to hear any mad sound. I didn't know my dad was coming home. So the gate starts to like claw its way open and I look and there's no one there. So I'm like, a robber's come into the house. So I've obviously then sprinted and hit the panic button and everything's going crazy. Turns out it was just my dad. But now I just feel like I'm totally primed to always hit the panic button in life. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you're anxious. Is that what you're saying? You're an anxious person.
A bit. Like when I move into a place, I always like to memorize the sounds of the place.
Yes.
Do you get that in your crib?
Well, when I go to sleep here, I lock every single door.
That's really not that abnormal. I mean,
my friends think it's insane. I lock my bedroom door. I lock I lock every door so that like if somebody broke in, they would be stuck in the corridor.
I used to sleep with a yoga pole against my door.
Yeah, I used to put the chest of drawers against my door. Then I got a dog, so I feel safer now that I have a dog.
Yeah.
She's cute. She's not here right now.
Yeah,
she's
I don't know.
Doggy daycare.
I don't know how. Oh wow! So you take your dog to like dog nursery?
No, she's just that my mum's just because when we do podcasts, she like moves around and stuff. And I don't know, like you could have been allergic to a dog. So
I am actually.
Are you?
Well, I have a very different attitude to dogs than English people because in Zimbabwe it's so hot they like to be outside. So when I see a dog inside, I'm always confused. But if you say that out loud in front of English people, they honestly think you're a murderer.
Yeah. Well, it's but dog people do. Like I have friends who don't like dogs and they don't get how like the dog's allowed on the sofa.
Do you let your dog kiss you on the lips?
No, I'm
okay,
not.
I respect that.
I'm not disgusting. That is disgusting. I have a friend who does that, and that is truly disgusting. But my dog sleeps in my bed.
But so it might lick your lips at night.
No, she doesn't lick my lips at night. She's not licking my lips. My dog doesn't lick my lips. She knows that I find that gross. I don't let dogs near my face because it's bad for your skin.
Is it?
Yeah, they have germs.
I just think like, look, I've got nothing against dogs because the dog community, they're quite sensitive. So if I say, oh, I don't want a dog to lick me on the lips, they're like, you hate animals.
That's
But
crazy.
it's
Sorry, that's
because-
crazy. I would never expect someone to want a dog to lick them on the lips. That's disgusting.
It's because dogs clean themselves with their tongue. So if I said, can I put my flannel on your lips? You'd be like, what? Get away from me. So it's the same with a dog.
Yeah, or like, can I rub my toothbrush all over your face? That's like completely fair enough. You definitely should, because also they have germs. But like I love my dog. I love her.
Okay.
Yeah. And
well, I'm glad I'm just glad that you don't let it lick you on the lips.
Yeah.
Because I would suddenly feel uncomfortable about the podcast.
I can promise you I don't let the dog lick me on the lips. That is disgusting. But I had, she just gets a bit annoying like when we're here because she moves around a lot and she barks at a cat that goes up there. I hate cats.
Oh, man. I do as well, but I don't want to just come on the podcast and spread animal hate.
No, but I hate cats. I didn't expect you don't have to agree with me. But
I just know that cats don't like people.
I just think they're so sus.
Because I've done a documentary about Robert Mugabe. I've done a documentary about Kim Jong-un. Still, cats.
Well, next we'll do a documentary about cats.
I'd love to. I'll happily beef cats. Truly.
Wait, the documentary about Kim Jong-un, did you go to North Korea?
No, I went to South Korea.
The next best thing.
Yeah, well, look.
If you can't go, you know that famous phrase, if you can't go to North Korea, go to South.
Yeah, that's a remix of When Life Gives You Lemons. But if we went to North Korea, it would have been the same doc that you've seen 1,000 times because they make you follow a certain...
Yeah, well, you're also not really allowed to film without their approval.
You can't interact with locals. You've got to go to the same statues and stuff. So, South Korea is where you find the highest volume of, South Korea
people
escapees.
who have left.
Exactly. People who've escaped, who've swum, who've run, all of those people. That's sometimes the nearest place they can go. So, it was scary because when you do a documentary like that, you go through so many security protocols. Don't use the internet. Don't access your online banking. All of this kind of stuff. They're going to hack you. Someone tried to hack into my SoundCloud the other day, which is mad.
It was Kim Jong-un.
There's like 3 songs on there. So I don't know what Kim Jong-un is planning.
He's gonna
jump on a remix.
Yeah, he's gonna do a remix
COVID.
back to back.
Yeah, but that was an experience.
That's cool. I'm fascinated by North Korea. I used to.
Loads of people are.
Yeah, I used to be really fascinated by it.
I was sat next to Heady One at a dinner, and I sort of said, I'm doing a documentary about Heady One, and he was locked in.
About Heady One? About
Kim Jong-un. About Kim Jong-un. Easy mistake. And he was like, I'm always on TikTok looking up North Korea.
Yeah.
And you just don't expect that from your favorite drill artist. Do you know what I mean? One of the most interesting observations about when you do anything about a political figure, no matter how bad, is you're always going to upset some people because some people really will ride or die for the bad guy.
Yeah, well, you must get that quite a lot. Do you?
So really, no, not that much.
Because I guess you always do people that are like universally.
Well, look, I'll say this. I always try to look, Grace. The maddest thing about the world now is we've gone from having good guys and bad guys, heroes and villains, to people being like, oh no, they're not villains, they're our kind of hero, right? It's a really weird, I haven't quite found a way to articulate it yet. But when Trump was getting into power, right?
The first time.
Sorry, it's the second time actually.
Right.
And people, you would say, he's a racist, he's done this, he's got terrible, his behavior towards women is terrible. All of these things, people are like, yeah, but it's fine. We can overlook that. He's Trump. And I was just thinking to myself, it's so crazy. If the most diehard MAGA supporter, their kids came home from school and the teacher phoned up the parents and said, we've got something really terrible to tell you. Your son or daughter was racist to another class member. They acted really inappropriately towards a female class student. And then during a test, they were told, they wrote down 2 + 2 is 5, and I told them it was the wrong answer, and they encouraged everyone to storm the headmaster's office. That kid's gonna get in so much trouble. The parent would be like, I can't believe my child's done this, I'm so embarrassed, I'm so sorry. But those qualities are in their president, and they're like, yeah, no, it's cool. It's like, what point have we gone from being like, these are totally unacceptable behaviors to, oh no, these are the qualities of a good president.
I know.
Like, what's happening in that timeline?
I don't know. Well, I almost think it's like by force, and then he has just done well because of so many shortcomings of his opposition. That's the problem. And he's had so much opportunity to like show how weak like everybody else is, and also the world is fucked, and he just uses that to his advantage basically.
Well, I listened to you say that on the previous episode. Well, okay, I listened to you say that at the first episode you did this year, saying, you know, the world is kind of a mess, and I'm going to be try and be conscious of making people feel better about it, because I feel it too. And without getting into the complexities of Trump as a case study, for instance, it just feels like to me now, if you pick on somebody who is doing genuinely bad stuff, I have seen an increase in people sort of defending that person. It's a really interesting observation about the world.
You also don't want to feel, it's like the other day we were, I can't remember, was I with you? We were looking up Andrew Tate, and then whoever I was with was like, no, let's just like not Google Andrew Tate another time, because he loves that he's the most Googled person in the world, and he loves to say that. Don't feed into it. Because it's like, I've gotten into sort of situations online where I've spoken about him and then get the level of hate you get when you talk about Andrew Tate. And then I'm like, I might as well just not do it. It's not really worth it.
I hear you. I've done one or two, I did a sketch on Andrew Tate maybe 2-3 years ago. Same reaction. I had so many people being like, I've always loved your stuff. This is too far. You don't see the Andrew's plan for young men. Obviously, then he started doing those things where he was literally just tweeting out racist slurs and saying crazy stuff. And even those fans were like, whoa, this is too much for even me. But in those instances, it's like the message I want to put out feels so strong. And I just want to put my flag in the sand. Do you know what I mean? I just want to like put my flag in the sand and say, even if you don't like this viewpoint, I would be dishonest if I didn't say this is how I feel, and this aligns with all my other satirical values. And then you sort of just leave it there, and people can absorb it how they want. Of course, when you're on a streak of people really liking what you're doing, you don't want to upset them. But the reality is, like, I can't just conform all of my thoughts to what everyone wants me to be. It's my art.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's. I also think it's all about like completely sticking to that, and it means that in my stand-up's not been like hugely commercial, maybe up until the last year, because I was so specifically talking about kind of like really intense things that women go through in comedy, which can be like a bit knee-jerky, but does work. That's what just was the only thing that I would like enjoy doing. You have to do what you find the most stimulating and satisfying, and then it will, you've just done incredibly well. So it's obviously
I appreciate
working.
that, man. It's scary. I don't know how you feel. Obviously, if a joke goes down badly in a room, I guess that's its own thing. You can maneuver around that. Online, if you've encountered that, or times you've encountered that, it's trickier because you can't really fight the fire in the same way. You can't have like a conversation that everyone then tunes into and goes, oh, she's ironed it out now. The minutiae of conversation is sometimes one of the things that can be, create anxiety online. I did, I think I did a video. Oh yeah, I mentioned the Andrew Tate one already, but it's like, if you sat down, the weekend after that video, I met a guy in the theater. He was like a young black guy. It was we were watching a play called For Black Boys, where it has a lot of who my audience would be.
It was amazing.
Most amazing.
It was
favorite play ever.
Absolutely incredible.
And he said to me, I saw you. I saw your video about Andrew Tate, man. And I was like, yeah. What do you think? He's like, I don't know, man. I didn't really agree with it because he's got these points, and he starts talking me through all his points. And I was like, okay, cool. Do you have a sister? He's like, yeah. I was like, would you let Andrew Tate date your sister? He was like, hell no. I was like, why? He was like, oh yeah, see what you're saying still. And that was it. Do you know what I mean? But I can't showcase that conversation to everyone who's then watched the video and disagreed.
Yeah, totally. And also you should, I think that we should all, I always think like I'd love to meet Andrew Tate, and I mean that like with my whole heart. I'd love to meet him and talk to him, because I don't know if it's like, obviously I disagree with so much of what he says, but I'm fascinated by his success, and that's the thing that I love to read a lot of the stuff online of men who love him, because I'm just curious at like how it's happened, and also what's gotten us here for it to be that he is so popular that people defend him when they don't know him. But so I think the internet just doesn't really like leave any space for nuance. So then it's just very like this or that. And then, you know, people feel really tribal. So either they are like Andrew Tate being the example, for Andrew Tate or against him. And no like middle ground of like, I'm just sort of interested in like talking about him.
Yeah. But you can create conversation. And I feel like in real life, you can have some pretty good conversations. Sometimes the internet, one or two things on the internet can just warp you into thinking, oh, you know.
What's the like craziest message you've, or like what, you must get some crazy messages. Let's really just put you on the spot there.
Well, I always say to people, I get a lot of husband thirst, right? What I mean by that is,
what is that?
People, so, you know, I've never been sent nudes or anything like that, which, you know, when I've mentioned that to my other peers, they're like, nah, man, you don't be stupid. Of course you have. I haven't. But I'll be sent stuff like...
The way you just said, I haven't,
truly. But what I get is people say stuff like, I had a dream about you fixing my dishwasher last night. That's a true one. That's a real one. Or things like, I imagined our wedding last night. I'm thinking, why are we always married? Like, why are we always a married couple? It's not thirst. It's just like, that's just true love.
Yeah, there are always people in love with you.
So I think I have a lot of that. I think it's because
really funny.
You know, my content isn't really boyish per se. It's not very laddie. So people just presume, oh, you must be like a nice guy. And I try and be, you know what I mean? But what are the messages? Bro, this is constant at the moment. I keep getting this message from someone be like, I have a Hermes factory.
Oh.
I want to give you a handbag and a belt. But it's constant. It's every day, to the point where I'm like, you know what? My man's just trying to grind. I need to go to this factory. That's like a big one I get. And then what's another one that I get? Okay, you hit me one. Have you talked about yours a lot?
No, I haven't actually.
I'd love to know one of yours.
I have just like crazy trolls. Like I've been getting told I look like when Bo Selector did Mel B. Like, do you remember that?
I can imagine. There was like big puppet head.
Yeah, well, it was like big curly hair and leopard print, and like whenever I used to post, are you gonna get it up?
That's actually wild. So what? So someone just messaged you that unprovoked?
People send me pictures of Bo Selector a lot.
Oh no.
But my hair used to be shorter and more red.
I mean, yeah, maybe the volume of the hair, maybe. Maybe it's just a comment on the volume of your hair.
No, people used to say, do you remember there was a period where I'd gone viral on Twitter, and I like hadn't gone on Twitter for like 5 days, and I went on, I had like 4,000 notifications, and it was just all of these bots sending me that same picture.
Oh, you know what's crazy? You remember when JLS went on tour, yeah? And in the opening night, Aston tried to do a backflip and hurt himself.
Oh, I do remember that.
People were messaging me afterwards asking if I'm all right. That was so wild to me. That's when I was like, oh, you actually do think I look like him. It's so mad. How are they saying I look like Aston when he has a fringe? Bro, my hair can't even cover 1 millimeter of my forehead. I'm thinking, nah, you lot just lazy with your comparisons.
I get a lot of people saying I'm a man because of my voice, because I have a deep voice.
Okay, real talk. Like, does stuff like that just ping off you? Truly,
yes.
Because of stand-up?
Because of my friends, probably, because we just make jokes out of it. Like, okay. I've never, if somebody said you're like Butters, that would get to me. But if somebody said like things that, I don't know, like if somebody called me Butters, maybe not actually. Not really. If somebody says I'm going to come to your house and kill you, then I'd be like, that's really scary.
And you'd be like, well, I locked my bedroom door, so I'm cool.
Yeah, exactly. The bathroom door's locked. Good
luck getting through 7 locked doors, pal. And my dog, that's not kissed me on the lips.
Yeah.
Has not licked my lips. But how, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
How does it, okay, truly, so if you open a social media app right now and you see like a bad comment, You feel no type of way.
No, if somebody was upset, if I'd harmed someone's feelings, that would upset me. So
Okay. Yeah,
say if
naturally.
I've posted something insensitive, say like, I don't know, what's a good example? Like my last show about abortion, I think I got a few messages of people being like, oh, this upset me. Like the joke that you made about abortion upset me.
Okay.
And I would feel bad and I would message them saying, I'm really sorry about that. Obviously, like I went through it. So it's all coming from personal experience. If I went on Instagram and there were loads of people saying like, this person looks like Hagrid or Ozelecta or Mick Hucknall from Simply Red, like that wouldn't get to me
The
at all.
Hagrid one,
because it would feed into my ego in a way because it just gives me material.
Yeah. I have lots of weird interactions. You know, like people will sit next to me on the tube and be like, bro, I do magic. I'm going to show you it now. And it's like, it's just a little bit long because you're like in rush hour. And the guy's like, which is my card? Which is your card? Which is your card? And there's just like people like bumping up against you. And it's just not the place for magic. Oh, and I'm hovering.
No, and you're hovering and you're not allowed to say abracadabra.
Yeah. You know, like you get weird DMs and that's like a story people tell. I have a lot of really weird in-person experiences, which when I try and tell them back, they sort of, I can't say them in stand-up because they're just too bizarre to be believed.
And they don't sound believable, yeah.
So, for instance, the other day I was cycling from my house. I was on a line bike, yeah? And I hear this shouting from behind me. It's like, yo, like crazy shouting. And I've got one AirPod in. I always like to cycle with one AirPod so I'm aware of the traffic, but I can also have a conversation.
Because you're watching a horror film
Exactly.
at the same time.
So this guy pulls up, right? He's in like a full suit, but it's like made of fur. Okay?
Right, love.
He's got like a ripped shirt, but also a tie. And he's got this huge scar like going diagonally across his face. Okay, and he's on a line back as well. Everything's untucked, like he looks raggedy, yeah? But at the same time, he's holding a bag of wet pineapples, okay? Sloshing around in this juice. So I'm trying to think, like, what, you know, one pineapple takes a week to get through. So what is my man planning? Anyway, he goes.
And had he recognized you?
Yeah, he'd recognized me.
Right.
So he's like, mate, do you remember me? I spoke to you in lockdown. And I was like, no. I was like, bro, honestly, I'm on a call right now. And he's like, that's fine. I'm on a call too. Turns his head. He's got one AirPod in. I'm like, shit, okay, we're both doing the one AirPod technique. And then he goes, do you remember what I told you about my charity? And I'm thinking, shit, what's the charity? And he's like, it's called Feed the Need, bro. So I'm like, so he's like, can you follow it right now? And I'm like, well, what do you do? And he's like, what I do is like, I raise money by like rapping to people. So I'm like, oh, cool, man. Look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check it out. And, you know, maybe that will be, I can have a look and then I can follow it. And he's like, all right, cool. Do you want to see something amazing? And I'm like, yeah, sure, man. And he begins to cycle up this hill into oncoming traffic with both of his arms outstretched like Jesus and this bag of pineapples swinging from his arm. Cars are literally swerving out the way and I never saw him again.
Wow.
And I'm just like, I can't
does sound unbelievable.
explain that experience to someone.
Confused.
But then I have to go on about my day.
I know. So, and then you're like,
just normally.
How can I? But also, it's one of those things, and then you forget about it. And then, like, a few hours later, you're like, that was so weird.
But I never forget about it because I don't get closure. Do you know what I mean? People are like, how's your day been? And I can't tell the story.
Well,
and I still haven't followed the page.
That's bad.
Because I looked for it, wasn't there.
Feed the Need.
Like,
was it? Feed the Need.
Well, no, don't look for it because I don't know if that's even the name.
Right, fine.
I just was really put off by the pineapples.
The other day, I was in Whole Foods and a man sort of chirps me and he was quite fit. So I was like, I'll entertain this. So we started talking in Whole Foods. And then, anyway, he asked my number and I was like, oh, no, sorry. And just sort of made up a story. But then...
How do you make up a story for not giving your number?
I sort of was like, oh, no,
curious.
sorry, I've just been at Pilates. He was like, so? I was like, oh, I'm really not in the mood to like give someone my number right now.
Yeah,
like, I'm in my Pilates clothes.
Never after downward dog, I can't.
Yeah, I was just
rule.
like, I'm just not in the mood. Anyway, so I left and then like 5 minutes later, I bumped into him in a different shop and he was like, oh, come on, like, you know, it's fate. We bumped into each other again. So I was like, and then the guys in the shop were being like, just give him your number. They're all shouting me like, give him your number. Give him your number. I was like, okay, fine. So I gave him a fake number. He called it. He was like, it's not working. Then I gave him a real number, but he was paying and like really well dressed. So I was like, whatever, like maybe I'll just ignore him. Anyway, then he starts texting me and I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to ignore him because it is so weird if someone's asked for your number IRL, in my experience. Because it's just a bit like, I know that we should it should happen more, but when it does happen, you're like, you must be weird for this to have happened.
What? So how can they win?
They can't.
That's your
they
LinkedIn.
Can't, and I can't. Everybody loses.
Okay, all right.
But it's just like, it doesn't happen. And so anyway, and so I didn't reply to him for like 5 hours. And then he just got really insane and started sending me like quite intense messages.
Oh, no.
Then I replied saying, I'm really sorry. Like, we met for about 90 seconds in a Whole Foods. Like, I don't need to reply to your messages. And then he was like, well, you've really led me on. Like, I thought we were going to like meet up and like, I was going to meet your dog. I was like, I met you for 90 seconds. Like, I'm telling you, max. Like, maybe in the shop added another 30 seconds. So I'm never talking to anyone in public ever again.
That's
basically.
fair.
Then I had to block him.
Maybe it was, did you tell him about the dog?
I did tell him about the dog, but I thank
Alright,
God
cool.
I didn't
maybe
tell
it's just
him.
like,
Like,
yo, I'm trying to lips a dog tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me come around, B. I
he
need
was
that
like,
number.
she's got the kind of energy to have a dog.
She's got that dog lick energy.
Yeah.
That DLE. No, I hear that. Segueing from dog licking.
Yeah.
Pies.
But you've already said you like hosting. You like beer pong.
Oh, I love beer pong.
Do you like
water.
have
With
birthday parties?
Yeah, so basically I got an annoying birthday, which is 29th of December. No one cares about your life enough to know when your birthday is, yeah?
True.
So what I'll do is, I'll just say it's in June. So, you know, when it came up in conversation, I was like, yeah, my birthday is 29th of June. I just started like spreading the word. So I'm getting ready for this big summer birthday, yeah? But 2 days before it, I forgot I said it was in June. So I had to move my birthday back to December. But the point is, now that I have a pace...
Your birthday is Fire Festival.
Well, I like having parties at my house because I can have my nearest and dearest and we're all together, and love beer pong. Although, you know, I like to have parties with my family there. My dad recently has started, his behavior is very strange because I've learned that he's a WhatsApp influencer. So he uploads to his WhatsApp stories.
Yeah, which like loads of parents
Dads
do.
But
Yeah.
no, my dad was doing a madness. So like, because it's family, you're chilled out. And I was playing beer pong. I don't want to get my clothes messy. So I had an apron, but I didn't have anything underneath.
And he was posting it on
And he was
WhatsApp.
sort of just like low-key filming from the corner. And then I walked into the kitchen another time and he was like saying to my sister, yeah, film me doing this, film me doing this. And it was him like shuffling these gold cards, which were my cards. And yeah, he'd start uploading. And I was like, why do I never see these? And then me and my sister were like, yeah, Dad, how come we never see his WhatsApp stories? Like, oh, I have blocked you on WhatsApp. Because he doesn't want us to see what he's doing. So
and that he's posting you as well.
yes.
Yeah.
So then it culminated. But what I started to realize is he was using things in my house to flex on WhatsApp, but like really weird things. So like he'd take a picture of him like holding double, you know? So now it's the final night of like Christmas, whatever, and I'm about to go to Jamaica on holiday. So I'm looking for my playing cards, which are the gold ones. And I go into the room where he's sleeping, they're just all splayed out next to his bed. So I walk in there and I start collecting these cards. He's like, what are you doing? Like looking at these cards. And I'm like, Dad, these are my cards. And basically what he'd been doing was he'd been flaunting them as if they were like sort of gold bars on WhatsApp. So he'd been catfishing, I don't know who, with these playing cards, acting like he'd stumbled across gold bars. So
I'm obsessed with him.
I don't know about having...
Are you now unblocked on his WhatsApp
No.
story? No, so you can't see his WhatsApp story.
I almost want to give you his number so that you can see his stories.
Well, that's a
but we
great
always
way
know
to
how
do
that
it.
goes. You can be like, Chris, I wanted to meet your dog and now I'm blocked. And I love hosting parties, and I really love like party snacks, but very specific ones.
Like,
I hate crisps.
oh, that's crazy.
No, but crisps,
That is
crisps to
crazy.
me are like potato eczema.
If
That's
I
the sensation I get.
If I could eat anything for the rest of my life, it would be Piper's just lightly salted crisps.
If I was on a desert island, yeah, if I was in an apocalypse and after 3 weeks I managed to get out of this bunker and there's no food anywhere and I walk for miles and I find some crisps, I'll die.
Really?
I'll die before I eat the crisps.
That's one of the
Apart
craziest
from ready
things I've
salted.
ever heard. I think crisps are the best. Barbecue beef hula hoops. We love them.
I don't know about that.
Barbecue beef hula
You
hoops.
want like beefy crisps.
Yeah, and I don't even eat meat. I love barbecue
Ready
beef hula
salted
hoops.
is the only, ready salted hula hoops is the only permissible crisp.
Have you ever had like a, say like, you know when you dip like a crisp in like tzatziki or hummus? No? Doesn't...
Yeah, no, I've done, I've
No,
obviously,
but as in like that,
you know, we all had
you
a
wouldn't
past.
like to do that? What
No.
did you say?
I said we've all had a past. But for me,
Like, that's my favourite snack. Is
Crisps are
dipping
just-
a crisp in something.
But I know you glossed over this, but someone in the room got it. It is like, if you imagine it, it is like potato eczema, isn't it? It's like flakes of potato.
Nah, I don't know. It's a source of potassium and magnesium.
Nah, crisps aren't for me. So I really love party rings.
I love party rings.
I love like dried fruit. Not necessarily.
Wow, wild. This is a wild.
You never had
bite.
dried mango?
I like dried mango. It's a bit chewy. Is my feedback.
I'll
for
have
it. It's a bit
crisps there
chewy.
for the guests. But what I'm saying is my personal party selection, bangs.
Party rings.
Yeah.
Dried mango. And
Zero
then
Guinness. Guinness zero.
0%.
But
Do you
with
not
the
drink?
Ribena. I go through phases of like just not drinking. For a
The
long time.
0% Guinness is amazing.
Oh yeah, it bangs. But with Ribena, that's the one.
Wow, I've never. I can imagine that would be amazing.
What I've
never done that.
Guinness and Black is a real thing. It's not like one of my weird.
Oh, I've just
concoctions.
never heard of that. But the thing that would taste amazing.
Yeah,
I love Guinness. I'm a lad.
What are your party
I'm a
snacks?
big lad. Crisps and dirty martinis. It's really olives. I love olives. And I
Yeah,
love
okay.
olive, like a brine. I love brine.
No sweets.
I don't like sweet stuff.
Really?
No.
That's a cause for concern for me.
Well, that's the crisps. Is the biggest cause for concern for
So-
me,
so
'cause
do you-
all I eat is crisps.
Yeah, but are you one of those
If
people?
you
who's like,
cut me open, I would just be a kettle chip.
okay, so you only have savory
I only like savory.
because
stuff.
I don't really trust those kind of people because like most
Dog
savory.
licking.
Most savory. Do you have desserts at a restaurant, or just go more like beef Wellington?
Like, if it was free, I would get it, but I would never. I'd rather have a starter. I'd rather have a side. I'd rather have another glass of wine.
Okay.
I like tiramisu. That's the only dessert that I love.
I can't. I know you don't eat meat, but I can't really imagine being with someone at a restaurant and they're like, "Cool, I'm going to finish on I'm going to have my steak and then I'm good." You can't end on
If you
meat.
drink wine,
You can't end
just
on
have
meat.
a glass of wine.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just
it's-
alcohol. If I'm gonna have sugar, I'd rather it be alcoholic.
Nah, but
Basically, is my
meat
thing.
meat is just a crazy cliffhanger to me. It's like, how can you then move on with life? Dessert is like a full stop at the end of
That's
the meal.
interesting. I've never really thought of it like that.
And so you're one of those people, if they're like, "Oh, would you rather live without sugar or salt?" You'd say,
Oh,
salt.
I do live without sugar. Like, you have to force me to eat fruit. It's quite bad. Like, I don't like sweet stuff. But I don't know. People are like, oh, my friend Jamila's always like, "Oh, look at me. Like, I don't like sugar." I'm not saying it like that. I just don't crave sugar.
What if I put like a cake in front of you right now?
I had a really good Victoria sponge slice when we were in Scotland, and that was banging. And I thought that was nice, but it was just someone gave it to me. I would never be in a restaurant and be there like, "I'll have the cake."
I don't know.
I'd
about
rather
this.
have chips. I love chips.
I don't know about that.
I'd love chips, potatoes in any form. But I just think it's just a taste thing.
I think it's a mind thing.
I think I decided when I was quite young. Do you know what I think it was? Was in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the child snatcher.
Yeah.
You know the character of the child
Oh yeah,
snatcher.
iconic nonce.
Big nonce.
Defo only opened line bikes that went goal
Yeah.
outside schools.
Yeah. That really made me not want to eat sweets, his character.
Also, it worked.
If you wanted to leave a party because you're talking to a really boring person with lots of small talk, what would you say to get out of the party? What would your line be?
Well, an excuse I use for everything else is I'm getting a sofa delivered. Because, no, but Grace, think about it. The windows they give you for delivering a sofa are infinite. It will be like, we'll drop off the sofa some point between 9 o'clock today and 2028.
No, it's true. They'll be like, it will be sometime between 8 a.m. and midnight. And it's
Exactly.
like, you have to be there for the whole day.
So like, this is a real story. I would really like to light a fire in the house, but you need a chimney sweep. So when you book a chimney sweep, you don't want to miss the chimney sweep. So I could also say basically there's a chimney sweep coming round. If I wanted to go like more old school with it.
You made that excuse yesterday.
Oh, yeah. I did make that excuse.
Did he say it to you?
Rebecca, we swallowed it up.
I promise you right now, there's a chimney sweep at my house. I promise you.
I can't believe you've just exposed yourself.
I haven't, because there's a chimney sweep at my house right now. What do you say?
I use the dog a lot. I say I've left the dog at home.
I'm like, yeah.
Well, actually, I've just started leaving. I did this
I like
the other
doing
day.
that.
I just leave.
I like doing that.
It's really liberating.
You just say because the thing is they always like add a nationality in front of the name of that thing. They say it's Russian goodbye, French
exit, Irish.
Is that what it's
goodbye.
called?
Yeah, they just add the national. Yeah.
Yeah, I call it a Zimbabwean abracadabra. There you go.
Thank you so much. You've been an impeccable guest.
It's been fun.
Good.
Are you gonna come to one of my parties?
Yeah, I would love that.
Would you?
Yeah, definitely.
There's no crisps.
Do you have any
Just dried fruit.
hot single friends?
No.
Oh,
But
I'm not
I
going.
know a couple people who absolutely love shopping for kombucha. So maybe you'll cross paths.